Welcome back to the Bryan Devore Connection. I'm your host, Bryan Devore. If you are a small business owner, you need to watch this video. There's a lot that goes into owning a small business, from running it to legal protections that you need to have as well. So here to talk to us today about the legal ramifications of owning a small business is my friend, Jenny Shin. Jenny, thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me, Bryan. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, my pleasure. So tell us about how you got to become a lawyer and sort of specializing in this line of law.
Yes, so there are no lawyers in my family. I'm the first, but I come from a long line of entrepreneurs and small business owners on both sides of my family. And so my great-grandparents on both sides, my grandparents and my parents, they were all small business owners. And so I think the reason I wanted to go into law, because I've wanted to be a lawyer as long as I can remember, was when I was young, I must have liked to argue, because my parents told me I was very good at it and I should probably go to law school.
There you go.
So I always knew I was going to go to law school. Luckily, it's worked out for me, and I do love being a lawyer. And so that's how I kind of came into the law. It was always the plan. And then my passion in the law is really working with small business owners. And so I found my niche just through helping small businesses.
So you must have seen it, like you said, growing up, seeing what small business kind of looked like. So, sort of osmosis.
Exactly right. And I understand, what it takes to own a small business and what it costs to run a small business. I mean, small business owners, they're passionate about what they do. They come from a great place. They just want to do, good work with good people, and, make a life for themselves. And I love those key, components.
Yeah.
But in California, it's tricky, because the laws are not made for small businesses. They're made for big businesses, but they impose on these small business owners. And I just felt like how I fell into my practice area, I didn't fall into it, I walked into it very intentionally, was small business owners, they deserve legal representation to help them navigate this legal system and the structure that's really, it's not built for them, but they have to work within it. So I thought they deserve an advocate that just works with the business side of it. And so that's what I do.
Great. Now we're going to talk about 5 key things that people need to think about. Before we do that, real quick, what would be the definition of a small business so people understand where do they fit in this realm?
Yeah, so small business, see, as a lawyer, right, what do we love to say? Well, it depends on which law applies. But I will tell you, employment laws, they can start applying to somebody that's got 1 employee.
Okay.
And then others are 5 employees or more. That's really when the full weight of California labor law lands on a small business owner. But when you talk to others, in my practice, small business is really 100 employees or less.
Got it.
I consider a small business.
Okay. All right, so let's jump into it. 5 things people need to know. What's the first one?
The first one is to protect your protections. Most business owners, they chose their business structure because they wanted to limit their liability. They decided not to be a sole proprietor or a partnership anymore. They formed an LLC or a corporation because they wanted to protect their personal assets, from their business creditors. So it's not as easy as going on LegalZoom and creating that LLC and you get your documents and it's a one and done thing. You have to actually maintain your corporate formalities in order to keep that protection strong. Some people have probably heard the phrase, the corporate veil. And what that is, it's your personal life. That veil covers your personal life with hopefully like a bulletproof protection.
Yeah.
So if something happens in your business, they can't come after your personal assets. And so to keep that corporate veil super strong, they need to make sure that they're in good standing with the Secretary of State by filing their statement of information every 2 years. They need to pay their minimum business taxes. Even if their revenue, if they had no revenue, you still have minimum taxes that you have to pay, because you need to be in good standing. And then also they need to know what their corporate documents require them to do. What does that corporation's bylaws say as far as when do we have to have, board of directors meetings, and what does that look like? So they need to know what's required of them in order to basically stay in good standing as a business owner.
Got it.
It's very important that they have that and that they document it.
Yeah, documentation is key. Number 2.
Number 2, there's a new actual corporate formality from the federal government. This is not California. It applies to all 50 states and territories. It's called the Corporate Transparency Act. And it's going to apply to almost all small businesses. And essentially what this is they need to go online to a portal that's specially designed for this, and they need to upload personal information on the owners of their business. So it's called a Beneficial Ownership Information Report. And for companies that were formed prior to January 1st, 2024, They will have until January 1st, 2025 to comply with this. But for brand new businesses that were formed, LLCs and corporations formed on or after January 1st of this year, they only have 30 days to upload this report. So it's very important because there's some teeth to this one. The federal government really wants compliance, and it can be a penalty of up to $10,000 a day.
A day?
A day. So they are really wanting to enforce this. Unfortunately, there was not a ton of information that has come out from the federal government on how to do it, but take heed and take care. It doesn't take very long. It took less than 10 minutes when I did it for my business. But the trick is this. Who's a beneficial owner? It's basically anyone that's got 25% or more of the ownership in the company. So your shareholders, your LLC members. Also, it's the people that control the business. So your directors and your officers. They also will need to provide the business owner their information, including a copy of their driver's license or passport, because those have to be uploaded through this portal. Okay. So it is strict and technical, but it's not hard. So I just want business owners to be aware of it and to make sure that they're in compliance by that January 1st, 2025 deadline.
Got it. All right, so that's 2 of 5.
That's 2 of 5.
There's a lot here to know.
Lot.
Kind of a general overview of the next 3. What's the third one?
So basically, kind of other new laws for small business owners to be aware of. For paid sick leave, it used to be that you had to provide 3 days. Now you have to provide 5. Another one is if a small business does not provide a retirement plan for their employees, then they need to be registered through CalSavers, which is a state-funded employment retirement plan that small business employees can participate in. That's important to know. Also, some other little things. Basically, off-duty cannabis use now is protected in California. I'm sure lots of people are already aware of that law. And then also, bereavement leave is required. So different things. If anyone wants more, they should contact their trusted advisor to learn more. Right. But that's really just things I wanted them to be aware of. Things that didn't necessarily get a lot of attention.
Yeah, for sure. Number 4?
Number 4 would be business succession.
Yeah.
So if we haven't scared everybody off of wanting to own their small business, and they could see a time when the business will continue if they're not, behind the wheel, that's a conversation and planning that should start taking place about 5 to even 10 years before they're looking to transition out of their business. Yeah. That's something that formally needs to be done. There's lots of moving parts.
Yeah, for sure. And number 5?
And number 5 is basically have your trusted advisors in place, because small business in California, you just never know when you're going to have a legal claim brought against you. And especially in the wage and hour space right now, for employers with 5 or more employees, you need to be very technically compliant with all of the wage and hour labor laws in California. So it's important. I had a payroll company when I was my only employee. So I'm a big fan of payroll companies, HR consultants, get help to comply with all of these things.
Right. So the bottom line is, if you own a small business, you need her because she's going to keep you compliant and keep you on the right path. Jenny's information is on screen, so you can call her. Her website is there as well. You can get more information. If you are listening to this on your favorite podcast channel, then it's going to be in the caption below. Jenny, thank you so much for giving us sort of a general overview. And this is, again, just a general overview. But for more information, people need to contact you, keep themselves protected.
Yes, my pleasure being here, and it is so important. But what I do want to say is don't give up.
Yeah.
Stay strong. We are the backbone of our state.
100%.
And we want to draw the best talent we can get to our state, so these laws are important.
Right.
And compliance is doable. It just have to be organized.
And that's the key, is compliance is doable. You just have to have the right people in place to do it.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right.